Hello, I'm Sarah from SRTT and welcome to Conversations with Sarah. Today I'm joined with Ali from Wildflowers. Hi Ali, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
That's okay, lovely. We've just had a little quick chat and we've been talking about you are an energy healer. But I'd really like to hear again, how would you describe your business?
So I set up Wildflowers probably because of lockdown, the same as what a lot of people are doing. And I've been an energy healer for going on 12 years. My family are really spiritual, and I always was thinking, well, what's my thing? Because it wasn't as obvious as everyone else's. And the more that I became aware of myself, the more I was picking up on energy everywhere, and it's my blessing and my curse because I pick up on everything. So if you're in a bad mood and transmute it immediately, I've already picked up that you're in a bad mood, for example. So it's a bit of a curse in that scenario. But so I use herbology, I use aromatherapy, reiki, reflexology, forest walks, nature, anything that holds an energy to bring healing, like a whole healing experience into another person. Because, going back to like a physics explanation of energy, if you pull back if you pull back everything, all that's left is an energy. That's how we start. That's how we end up. So it's really important to lessen the load so you can deal with life just on a more middle ground.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you.
I've had to do that so much in my life. I have suffered with anxiety. I'm all in my head all the time, so my energy is always like so I have to bring myself back down to the middle, and that's where I can kind of work through everything gently. So
yeah, and I would completely agree with you. That sort of energy space, being able to sort of bring yourself into that centered space and work from there is so important. So today we're going to talk about aromatherapy, and I guess that will tie into how you center yourself using the aromatherapy as well. But I guess there's going to be a lot of people out there that don't even know what aromatherapy is. So how would you kind of introduce aromatherapy to people? What is aromatherapy?
So it's a holistic healing treatment, and holistic means that you treat the whole person and the whole thing, as opposed to a doctor who would only treat an illness and a symptom. Aromatherapist asks questions about your medical history, your lifestyle, your well-being, and they really delve into why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. So they're able to treat you mainly with essential oils. Depends on your aromatherapist, because they've probably got a lot of other spectrums behind them that they pull in as well. But they're able to treat the whole cause and the whole symptom, something you may not have even thought might have caused where you are today. Because normally poor mental health and poor physical health is as a result of an imbalance somewhere in the body or in the mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do the oils work then with this kind of the imbalance, and sort of just how do they work?
So oils have been used since the birth of Jesus Christ. If we look back to him being given frankincense and myrrh as a gift for when he was born, yes, that was an actual herb that he was given, but it was a plant extract that was seen as a real powerful, expensive gift back then. So since then we have learned how to get the oils out of the plants. And I think going back to Egyptian times, they came upon rose oil just because they used to use rose petals in their bath for smell, and because it was so hot, it sort of distilled the oil out of the petals, and they're accidentally made rose essential oil. And from then on, there was a massive snowball effect, and they've got, you can do this with any plant and herb that has been used beneficially throughout time. So what they tend to do is steam or press the petal, the stem, the root, the seed, the bark, depending on what part of the plant can be used for what. So that's kind of how they get it out.
Okay.
And you can use it, I think there's 3 different ways to use it. One I wouldn't necessarily recommend unless you know what you're doing. So you've got inhalation, you've got topically, which is on the skin, and then there is ingesting as well. So when you inhale an essential oil, it takes 22 seconds to have an effect in the body. It's that quick because it's a plant extract. The body automatically accepts it. It's not a foreign substance you're putting in there. It's made of the same, chemical makeup as we are as humans, as everything is. So it's immediately accepted into the body. Nothing's ever rejected. Which is why essential oils are so good, because your body won't go, shut down, I'll put my immune system to fight that, or I'll use the lymph nodes to fight that. It just accepts it, because it's not the structure is exactly the same as our body, basically.
I've never actually, now I've done aromatherapy massage, so I've trained in pre-blend oils. I've never heard it described like that. That's such a beautiful way of sort of helping someone that's never heard of it before understand just how imbalanced with your own body that it can be.
Yes, exactly. And if you add to that color and as a vibration, a color, I mean, without going way deep into color therapy, but
we can talk about that another time, because I love color therapy.
You add to that the vibration of the color, and then the smell, and then plants are beautiful. They're built to attract the sun. Their reproductive system is built in naturally. They've got all of this. They self-heal. And I guess a massive sign of being able to die and come back bigger and beautifuler and
and that energy transformation comes along with when they're used in the smell as well, because if you follow physics, energy just changes from one form to another. So I guess by the flower being steamed or whatever and the essence being drawn, that energy comes along with it to be used within the treatment that you're doing, or your dehumidifier, is that the right word? No, the atomizers.
Kind of,
So do you use the
dehumidifier sort of dehumidifier?
That's the take-it. The one that goes, puts it in. I know what I've got one, but what it's called. What it's called. The thing that puts the smell out into the air.
So basically, when you smell the oil, it stimulates something like an olfactory gland in our nose that sends messages direct to our brain. So what it does is that part of the brain that's connected to smell, it also stimulates our amygdala, but that is a whole nother story. So the molecules reach the brain, and then the brain sends out messages, and because it's been positively stimulated, it secretes hormones like serotonin, dopamine, and they are responsible for lowering stress levels and making us feel happy. So in another sense, oils can trigger a trauma, because a lot of counsellors use essential oils as like a positive trauma treatment, especially if they need to take you back to a time that you've blocked out, for example, like a real traumatic time. You can go back gently with a smell to help trigger and then help support that emotion during a counselling session. So that is something to be wary of, especially if you've had trauma.
Yeah, because we all have that reaction, don't we, where we can smell like a perfume, or I don't know, like a summer's day, or just a scent in the air that will take you immediately back to a memory. So, and it can be a good or a not so a good memory.
Exactly, and it's a surefire sign that this works. You know, you smell lavender, you either love it or hate it. Let's face it, it's a bit like Marmite, isn't it? I love it.
I hate it.
Exactly, but then you've got like smoke. Some people might not like the smell of smoke, so that will make straight away you might go, oh,
yeah,
and that's a response, immediate emotional response to a smell. So I mean, I wear essential oils as perfume now because I'm just so concerned with all the chemicals that are in our product. And when you use products with chemicals in, like laundry detergents, I'm so saying that Americanly, fabric softener, sorry.
Yeah.
Persil, well, whatever, bleaches, highly perfumed body scrubs, the things that you put under your arms, your toothpaste, it's so full of chemicals. I mean, you can never get away from chemicals nowadays. But what happens when your body has that chemical enter its system is that your immune system is now fighting that and not supporting you in your everyday energy level. So you're going to be depleted, you're going to be tired, you're going to have symptoms of hay fever, for example, because it's how your body shows you that it's fighting something, which is great when you're ill.
Yeah, not so good when it's just from day-to-day living.
To fight a chemical, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So it's quite scary, really, because they're everywhere. You know, they're even in our food. So purely because of fuel dumps that go across, or you know, pesticides, or you know, so we're never going to get away from it. But if we can do things and make products out of essential oils to use in everyday life, just to lessen that toxic load, then you're going to feel more energy. If you're more energetic, you're going to be happier.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has a whole effect on your everyday life.
So how would you use the essential oils in day-to-day, in everyday life? What?
They smell incredible. So, I mean, the amount of times that people have walked into a room that I'm in and I've gone, oh, what's that smell? It's lovely. So immediately I know I've already made that person happy just by smelling me. But I use them instead of, so I've stopped using fabric softener now, but it's mainly because I'm a vegan and it's not vegan. So I use white vinegar with a drop of essential oil in. So, I mean, if you get 100% pure essential oil, one drop goes a hell of a long way. So I'll use that in my washing instead of some of the washing detergents. You can use, there's a blend out there called On Guard, which is a company called doTERRA do it. And that is really antiseptic. So you can use that as a cleaner. And it's just as effective as bleach, as is lemon, in terms of cleansing and cleaning. So, and you still get that lemony smell that a lot of people like from the smell of bleach, because you know, people, especially people that really love to clean, really enjoy the smell of bleach, don't they? Like, right, now I know that's clean.
See, and I'm, because of my health conditions, I'm really aware of not using too much chemicals within the house, because I know that they definitely make a difference for me and the way that I'm feeling. So it's I'd never considered making that switch to essential oils, even though it's something I use in other parts of my life. So that's something that I'd not even thought about today. How would I know which oils to buy?
If you mix anything with white vinegar, you can clean with it, basically.
Okay. So white vinegar is the carrier.
Yes. Yeah. In terms of cleaning, don't put it on the skin.
Yeah.
It's not facial.
No.
So okay, it is really, really important that you know what you're buying when you buy an essential oil. It's not regulated by, I think it's the FDA that regulate a lot of stuff like this. So it's not yet regulated. So you only have to have a 5% pure oil in an oil to call it a pure oil. Right. As long as you don't say 100% pure, you can get away with calling it pure, and then you can sell it for a real cheap price. And what happens when people do that is that they will mix lavender with another plant from the lavender family that smells similar, that's a lot cheaper. So what you're actually, if you're buying a lavender because you want it to relieve stress or to help you to sleep, if you're not buying a pure product, it's not going to work.
Right.
It's going to smell nice.
Yeah.
In terms of like the therapeutic properties that it's supposed to hold, you're not going to have that in your oil.
Okay.
And you also don't know if the other components are okay for your skin, whereas lavender has been tested. The other flowers that go along with it won't have been.
Right.
Added to that, it's filled with a carrier oil as well, so some kind of unsmelly oil. So you're probably getting 5% natural lavender and 95% God knows what.
Who knows? Yeah.
So you do have to invest in a decent oil. You do.
Okay.
And yet you just want the smell, because whatever there is, it's very rare that they're going to mix it with a chemical that's going to harm you. But in terms of therapeutic, emotional, physical effects, you won't get them.
Right.
So you need so the price is the big thing. Do your research, basically. Look at your companies, because they doTERRA, for example, like they are who I favor, but that's only because I know how much they test their products. I think there's something between 40 and 45 times they test to make sure there is absolutely no random chemical in your sample. So you're getting, every single time you're buying an absolutely 100% pure oil, which is, yes, they're expensive. Well, they're more expensive than your average oil, but you only need one drop. And I think in an average 15 ml, you get somewhere between 200 and 300 drops.
Yeah. So I guess when you're comparing price, you need to be comparing the actual content of what you're getting, percentage wise of the essential oil that you're going for, like your lavender. You want it to be the higher percentage, or as pure as you can get.
Yes, and normally you can tell by the label, because it will say on the back it has to have its Latin name, the Latin equivalent of the flower. It has to have that on the back.
Okay.
It has to say where it's from, where it's picked from. And there was one more thing. Oh, information on the purity and ingredients. So it will tell you, for example, I think I've got a lavender here. No, I don't. I've got peppermint though. It will tell you on the label, on doTERRA's peppermint oil. I don't know if you can see that.
I can't, but I don't have my glasses on, so I'm not going to
oil
at you.
Only. That's the ingredient, you know. So
you know it is
your
only.
fire sign, but yeah. So just read the back. You'll get a good idea for what's in it, because they have to say what they put in it. So
yeah. For someone that's kind of
it smells lovely.
Yeah, I bet. Someone that's got to consider the budget. Sort of, what's the minimum percentage, I guess, that you want to go down to, or do you really want to be as 100% as all the time?
Personally, I would say invest in it. If you're using oils, it's not worth using something you're not going to get the full benefits of.
Okay.
It just means that you have to just buy one a month. And the prices range from how easily accessible the plant is. So I know that with the company that I use, that they replant everything that they use. So I know that not only is it a natural product, but they're not deforesting, and they're not you know, ruining the crop for it, so it's going to eventually just die out and there'll never be enough. So
Yeah,
they
it's
only
ethical
use,
and sustainable.
yes, exactly. So something like an orange oil or a lemon oil, they're all going to be under £10 because they're so easily accessible. You know, there's lemons and there's oranges, and you press the skin to get the oil out of them. So I mean, I think I paid something like £8 for a bottle of wild orange, which is a 15 ml. Lavender is somewhere between, I think it's about £16 for a lavender. You could go up to £100 for, and like rose oil is in the £200. Like I don't own that one. I don't think I could ever bring myself to.
And I
I'll
think
make
isn't frankincense is quite expensive as
about
well, isn't it?
56 pound for a bottle of frankincense, but my god, that oil is incredible. I have invested in frankincense because frankincense it's like a harmonizing oil. You put it with any other oil, it will enhance the effects of any oil you put it with. It's such a powerful oil. It's good. The energy it holds is incredible. So trust me, it's worth the investment for a decent frankincense.
And how because you started to talk about it a little bit more, so how would somebody at home who has no training, how would they use something like this? How would they use the oils?
It very, very much depends on what you want it for. So if you're using it for pain, you would put it with it. If you're using it on the skin, you're better off putting it with a carrier oil, something like olive oil, coconut oil, any oil basically that is plant-based. You can mix it together. So you'd put 1 or 2 drops of like a squeeze of oil and just rub it into the area.
Yeah.
If you're using that for pain relief, that, like, I think oils get into the bloodstream within, there's my piece of paper on it, 20 minutes. They're in every cell of the body. Right. It's affected every cell of your body within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
In your bloodstream. So it's up your nose in 22 seconds, in your bloodstream by 2 minutes, and in every cell of the body by 20 minutes time.
Yeah.
That's how quick it will work.
Yeah, so I guess if you're using it at home, it's something that you kind of need to be really aware of what medications you're taking and what other things that it is going to interact with.
Some oils can either make your medications not work or enhance the effects. So if you're on a sedative, for example, and you use a sedative essential oil, you're very likely going to
you're going to be sleeping very well. Probably more well than you'd like to be.
If you're on strong medication for an illness, seek your doctor's advice for sure. Same if you're pregnant. If you go to an aromatherapist for advice, they'll know exactly what you can and can't use. They do advise you use essential oils for pregnancy, mainly labour. I wouldn't use anything in the first trimester regardless.
No.
Just because herbs have a huge effect on the body. You know, there are foods that you can't eat when you're pregnant, and there are definitely plants you cannot ingest or put in the bloodstream. There's just not enough research done on how it affects pregnancy and the babies.
And it is always better to sort of err on that side of caution, isn't it? Because, like, as you've said, like, the oils can be mixed different ways. There's different levels of advice that you can be given. So something as precious as pregnancy, you want to be making sure that you are taking all the precautions that you can take, and waiting until you're working with somebody who knows exactly what they're talking about.
And a lot of hydrobirth therapists and midwives, they will know their stuff with regards to that. So it's just err on the side of caution, just get a bit more advice before you are pregnant. But I mean, oils like lavender, they're so gentle, they're okay. But if you start going up the spectrum, I think any kind of citrus would be okay as well. But I'm not a midwife, and I've never used it alongside that before. So yes, definitely seek secondary advice when it comes to that.
And I think as well, it's like you've talked about the different places that you get it from. I guess it is working alongside somebody who knows what they're talking about if you're trying to treat something specific, because I know, like, we can't give medical advice, we can't say that things are going to cure things, but we can help, like, you know, you've got all this knowledge about the different plants and the properties that they have and the way that they interact with the body. You can help somebody build their own treatment plan, I guess, or way of working with things.
Everybody's different, so one oil that might work for me might not work for you, but I'll know another one that would work. So it's trial and error. It's a case of trial and error as well.
So if somebody was watching this today and wanted to work with you, is that something that you do? Do you do consultations in that way?
Yeah, I do. I use it in oils and reflexology. I'm really into CBD at the moment.
As am I. It's one of my topics that I've got coming up.
There is so much medical evidence coming out now, but I mean, it's such a wonderful oil. And if you don't like the thought of taking drugs, you can, the company that I get my oils from do another one called Copaiba, which has the same medical effects as CBD oil has. So if you're a bit funny about actually ingesting the plant, there is another oil you can use that has the same effects. I've gone totally off track. What did you ask?
I've forgotten. I was so busy listening. How people would connect with somebody, I think, to get like you particularly, how you, because I know you've got your Etsy, because I've been cyber stalking you, having a little look around.
I'm trying to start my own website. Like, I've gone for some funding to help support me in getting my website out there, because I mean, I haven't got the first clue how to start up a website, so that is incoming, but at the moment I'm really active on Facebook and Instagram. So
and I should pop all those links in the bottom, so anyone who's watching this can go and find you on socials and kind of reach out and book in for a consultation or whatever with you and kind of have a little bit of a chat about things, because I've noticed like your bath stuff, your bath things that you put out there, which I mean, I use Epsom salts, and I've got oils that I just kind of throw in, but kind of, you know, it's like
you can intuitively use essential oils. Like you can listen to your intuition and just go, that's right for me. You know, you don't have to. It depends what you're using them for. If you're working emotionally, the best way to do it, Sarah, is just to do what you do and throw in what you fancy.
Yeah, so I think it's really nice to be able to connect with someone as well and kind of have that. Because I do a lot of work intuitively, but there is times when you kind of think, oh, it's really nice to pick someone's brain and to be able to go, I've been using this and I've been using that, what are your thoughts on this? And it can just help you sort of peel back that next layer of working with any kind of therapy, and just being able to take that intuition into a bit of knowledge, like kind of that yin yang, isn't it? Because we can get really caught up in the knowledge of something and forget about our intuition. And conversely, we can get really caught up in our inner world and our inner thoughts and our inner intuition and forget that actually there are other people out there that can help us and we can connect with. And we can pool that resource and get some guidance, maybe get some help, assistance, greater knowledge to work towards your greater good alongside your intuition.
Exactly, and you'll probably find that whoever that person is that's come to you for that has got a shed load of knowledge that you've gained from as well. It's such a lovely exchange, isn't it?
And I find that with my clients, I learn something new from everybody that I come into contact with, that either helps me reflect on my own barriers to self-care, or it's something that's really useful that I can then take forward in my client work and enable somebody else to be able to have a better understanding of their self-care by being able to share the knowledge that's been imparted to me.
It's amazing.
Like you said, we've come back to the beginning, it's all about energy, isn't it? It's all that energy exchange, and it is it's that passing it on and being able to kind of all work together.
Definitely. And if you're using your oils for like emotional support, it's worth getting some advice definitely on the, especially if you're going into like real deep inner work, you know, if you've come to a point where you know, right, okay, chakras, for example, like I am out of balance, and I know that it's, you know, even time of the month, you're out of balance in your womb space, so your sacral chakra is a little bit off because you've got all of that sort of death and rebirth going on in your body at the same time. So the oils that support with hormones, with period pain, with moodiness, irritability, brain fog, you know, there is an oil for everything, literally. So there are oils, specific oils to use to balance every single chakra. You've got especially in terms of how they affect your emotion system, there is they have only really done this the research out there has only really been done on lavender. They you know, because I think lavender is one of the oils that everybody says is brilliant.
Yeah,
most of the research out there has been done on lavender, so I think it's quite important to say that a lot of the other oils, in terms of medical research, haven't really. CBD has, but that's just because it's popularity. I suppose it's the same with lavender. It will happen soon. There will be a lot more research out, so we can sit back and go, this does work.
Yeah, I think
we can only say it can work.
Yeah, it can work, and use anecdotal kind of stories, but you know, this is medicine that predates modern medicine. Plants were used as medicine before we knew all the things that we know now. And I don't for any minute, like, I'm not saying that modern medicine is all wrong, but I really hope there comes a time where there is that balance between old medicine, which is now seen as new age, and pharmaceutical medicine, where people, you know, we can kind of recognize that it is holistic. It's treating everything as a whole, and kind of looking at how things can work alongside together. There absolutely is some stuff that modern medicine is required for and is the best option for, but sometimes there's you know, the being able to use the plant stuff can be just as helpful.
I think if you pay private to go to a private doctor, 9 times out of 10 they know about essential oils and will use them as alongside another treatment if you pay privately. If you go to an NHS doctor, they simply, unless it's a real good hobby of theirs, they're so busy. They're so busy. You get 10-minute slot to go in and tell them everything. They're just, you know, they really are overworked, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's something that you kind of have to.
An hour. You've got an hour's session, you know. So they're more likely to treat you holistically, like a holistic practitioner would.
Yeah. So I guess it's connecting, educating yourself, sort of looking at what's going to be helpful, and you know, most of us like, you know, think, oh, when we need to relax, we're gonna have a bubble bath. So even if you're just using those little bits of oils in your bath, that's surely going to be a good place to start. I don't know, where would you say? 100%. Where do you start?
It's hard because I went way in. I just dived right into the pool of essential oils and then had to sort of go, right, okay, slow down, because I just loved them. I've always used them, funnily enough. I just didn't know about it, and then I did an aromatherapy course and got certified, and then I was finding out about how, you know, especially with skin, for example, it is the biggest organ in the human body, and we don't even treat it like it's an organ because it's on the outside, and it's every single blood cell vein attaches to the skin, you know. Everything inside feeds the skin. Normally when you're ill, you can tell by your skin.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know, you have to look after it. and if we go back to the whole chemical thing and the whole energy thing, the first place you're going to feel that is in your skin. So if you were to use it as it's really hard to say, use it in your bath. It's if you can bring yourself into a level of homeostasis, which is when the body is completely relaxed, you can heal twice as fast. And that's what holistic therapy is all about. Massage, reflexology, aromatherapy, herbology. It's all about bringing you into a state of alignment and bringing you back to calm and peace. And the minute that you're in that state, your body works overdrive positively to heal you from the inside out. So and I think in our current climate, we work ourselves and think ourselves into exhaustion on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
It has become really uncomfortable to relax when you eventually try.
It's
like, I can't, I've got to do something.
We put so much as a society, so much emphasis on being busy, and the word lazy, I don't think lazy exists. It shouldn't exist. Like, it is okay to take time and stop. We need time to stop, and I think that's why we see a lot of the disease and the illnesses that we see out there. And I know for me, that's certainly part of my story, my journey, like doing doing. So taking that time to stop, relax, calm, rebalance, using whatever method you use to bring your body into that calm space, that stillness is needed. It's so needed. Just, I enjoy spending a lot of time doing nothing now. Just doing nothing. I meditate, but for me meditating can be, I lay on my couch and I've got a heat lamp, and I put my heat lamp on, and I've got some music that I put on, and I take myself off into a meditative state, and so I'm doing things to look after myself, but my brain is. So I'm just thinking, well, what can I get some oils in on this action?
I mean, even if you were to take a few drops, put it in your hands and inhale for 3 seconds, like do it 3 times, you are already bringing yourself back to the present moment. You have already started your healing journey just from going. So you've slowed down, you've given your body that oxygen. Those essential oils have gone into your brain. They've affected your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for you regulating anxiety. So your fight and flight, your heart rate, your stress response, like it basically brings all the chemicals in to relax you. So it undoes stress. So you immediately, even just by putting them in your hands and smelling them, you've relaxed. That's as little as it takes to put you into a state of relaxation. What you then do after that is on you.
But that just shows how easy it can be, to bring oils into your day-to-day life, because that's one of the things that I say to clients. I work with a lot of clients with anxiety, and I always say breathe, and they go, what do you mean I'm breathing? It's like, but you're not. Like, just taking those moments to take those deep breaths in. So if you're adding oil into that practice, already that's 2 things that you're doing.
For meditation, you should be using frankincense or myrrh or something that's grounding. Like, it will really support you to feel, especially if you've got your eyes closed and you're imagining yourself in a forest or something. Like, the oils can really help bring, I think they say when you work with meditation, you work with the 5 senses, don't you? So the sound, the smell, what you can see, what you can hear, what you can taste. So you can bring that into meditation really effectively, depending on where you want to go. Put lavender in if you want to go into a lavender field when you close your eyes.
So I like all the kind of musky, woody kind of smelling things, and jasmine. I really like jasmine. I think jasmine is a relaxing oil, maybe, I don't know. Like, I just like it.
Definitely. They put it in green tea and in chamomile, don't they? So yeah. But you know, your choice in terms of the essential oils that you like the smell of the most will say a lot about you as a person and about what you need at that time as well. So especially if you're like, oh God, something's wrong with me and I don't know what it is, you could probably tell through what you like the smell of. It will be, okay, you need to be more grounded. This is why you're going for these earthly oils. Or you could, it depends what oil it is, but you can definitely tell from what you like the smell of about what your body needs right now without really even having to.
I'll talk to you more after we've finished recording then about those and get a little sneak peek into my brain. I don't think I'm not ready to put that all out there.
You've got the original sort of physical aspect of an oil, and then you can delve way into the magical spiritual realm, and putting the two together can just tell you so much more.
And I'm really, because I do reiki as well and energy healings and like working with chakras, so I'm really into sort of, you know, looking into that deeper level, because you know, some stuff you just like the smell of or you don't like the smell of, and I think it's just as interesting to know what the things that you don't like the smell of can be connected to, as well as the things that you do like the smell of, because it does tell you, it gives you other pieces of the puzzle, doesn't it, to be able to look at what is going on for you mentally, physically, emotionally, and help you fill in the gaps of what you're in. It is intuition, as much as people may feel resistant to that word. We all have got this innate knowing. Our body knows what it needs to bring ourselves into that state of balance, and if we listen to what our body's trying to tell us, we can connect to that thing that we need. So if a smell is repulsive to us, I would think that there is a reason.
For sure.
And exploring that reason can be useful.
There are some smells that categorically no one's going to enjoy, so you kind of know that. You know, that's just smell of poo, or
that's just a given.
That we're like, oh, it's warning, don't go near it. There's a lot,
course,
there's an evolutionary element to it, but for sure. If it's something like, especially if it brings back a traumatic experience, or in terms of the emotion that the emotional response that you would get, if straight away if it's something like anger or sadness or guilt or any of those lower vibrational energies, then 100% it will be a message, normally to do with shadow work. So
to get into the messy space and work with it. I mean, this is something, like, especially when we're starting now, I could talk about for hours and hours, but I think we're probably at a space where it feels like a good place to stop. Does that feel all right for you?
Of course. I could talk about this for hours, and I'd probably end up the same thing.
I've learned so much today, and as I said, I've already done some studying, but only about pre-blend oils, and there's things that I use, so it's been really interesting to learn that more in-depth information today. So thank you very much for being my guest. And your links, both our links, will be in the bottom of the description of what we talked about today. So I'm just going to say thank you and goodbye, but don't go anywhere.
Bye-bye.